Welcome to Circuit de Ledenon on the 8th of August 2026. It's top split with a 3.6k strength of field. Conditions: air 27 degrees Celsius, track 30 degrees Celsius, dry track. The starting grid is row 1, Molat P1 alongside Van Eekelen P2. Row 2, Joyner P3 alongside Williams P4. Row 3, Turkey P5 alongside Lawrence P6. Row 4, Van der Noord P7 alongside Hunt P8. Row 5, Cummings P9 alongside Kriebel P10. Row 6, Maddox P11 alongside Dutcher P12. Row 7, Jeffrey P13 alongside Gilbert P14.
What stands out to me is Jake Williams is only 4th. And for a driver leading this championship with 16 wins and 15 poles, that's rare territory. So, Mollett on pole, Van Eekelen alongside, and Joyner in 3rd have a genuine chance to squeeze him early. And we've already seen Williams and Joyner cross paths in some pretty sharp trophy fights this season.
A lot to look forward to in this race, Aria, as we wait for the red lights now. The start is clean, and Molat leads the field away. Just behind, Van der Noord makes the move on Lawrence to grab 6th. And now Williams finds a way through on Turkey to take 4th place. Van Eekelen goes by Joyner and moves into 2nd place. Dutcher gets past Kriebel for 11th, and Kriebel is beginning to slide backward. Williams now finds a way through on Joyner to grab 3rd. Joyner has Turkey right with him here, with 4th place still under attack. They are alongside each other once more. Williams and Joyner still locked together over 3rd. Maddox moves past Cummings for 9th. Just behind them, Dutcher and Gilbert are side by side in the fight for 11th. Williams still has Joyner tucked in behind, and this fight for 3rd is not going away. Turkey continues to hold Lawrence back in the battle for 5th, but Lawrence remains close. Joyner stays ahead of Turkey, with barely any margin between them in that scrap. Gilbert keeps advancing, taking 10th away from Cummings. Williams has closed right onto Van Eekelen now, and 2nd place is coming under pressure. Cummings loses another spot as Dutcher comes through for 11th. Jeffrey follows that up immediately, passing Cummings for 12th. And Cummings drops one more position as Kriebel gets by for 13th. That contest around 5th is still intense, with Turkey still heading Lawrence and Van der Noord. Lawrence is still just ahead of Van der Noord in the fight for 6th. Gilbert's charge continues as he takes 9th from Hunt. Dutcher gets through on Hunt as well, moving into 10th. The duel for 3rd is still alive. Williams ahead for now, but Joyner staying right on him. Gilbert is up another place, passing Maddox for 8th and continuing that climb from deep in the order. There is another 3-car queue here, with Dutcher leading Hunt and Jeffrey around 10th. Jeffrey now takes 11th from Gilbert and keeps his own progress going. Race order at the front. Malat leads Van Ekelen, then Williams, Joyner, Turkier, Lawrence, Van der Noord and Dutcher. The fastest lap at this stage is still Van Ekelen's 1:26.572. Joyner turns it back his way and gets 3rd from Williams. Maddox runs off track and falls from 10th to 14th, with Jeffrey and Gilbert both getting through. Hunt answers back by passing Dutcher for 8th. Joyner comes through again for 3rd in this relentless exchange with Williams. And still it is not settled. Joyner and Williams running side by side once more over the final podium place. Joyner and Williams are back alongside one another, and this fight for 3rd is getting more intense by the corner. Still side by side, still unresolved, with Joyner and Williams refusing to back out of it. That battle spills straight onward, with Williams now alongside Turkier, while Joyner remains just ahead in the same scrap.
Joyner's got almost no breathing room here, and with Williams crowding Turkier, the next couple of corners will really test who keeps their composure.
Mollett answers at the front with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:26.135. Williams gets through on Joyner for 3rd once more, as that duel keeps swinging back and forth. Big trouble there for Joyner and Turkier. Both run off together and both lose ground. Turkier runs wide again, loses momentum, and the pressure from behind is only growing. Dutcher and Hunt are at it again, side by side, in another chapter of this busy midfield battle. Malat lowers the benchmark again with a 1:26.038. Dutcher comes through on Hunt and grabs 8th after all that pressure. This is turning into a compact 3-car queue now, with Williams, Lawrence and Van der Noord all tied together around the podium fight.
Lawrence has the momentum here, but when they're this close, one tiny miss from Williams could invite both cars into the same conversation.
Jeffrey is another one to watch, because he has closed right onto Hunt after reeling him in over the last few laps. Gilbert has Kriebel right on him now in the battle for ninth. There is a three-car pack here for third. Williams leading Lawrence and van der Noord. Here comes Dutcher again, drawing alongside Hunt as this contest flares back up. Hunt responds immediately and retakes sixth from Dutcher. Kriebel completes the chase at last and gets by Gilbert for ninth. Lawrence still cannot shake van der Noord, who remains tucked right behind in that fight. Dutcher finishes the job this time and takes sixth from Hunt after hauling him in. Jeffrey has arrived right on the back of Hunt in the fight for P7, and that pressure is building fast. Aria, Malat pulling away from Van Ekkelen. What does that tell you? Joyner gets by Cummings for P11, a useful move as he tries to stop that slide down the order. Lawrence is under heavy pressure for P4 from van der Noord, while Williams has managed to edge clear up the road. Now it really kicks off, because Hunt draws alongside Dutcher for P6, with Jeffrey still latched onto the back of them.
Hunt's got the momentum here, but with Jeffrey sitting right in the draft, one tiny bobble from either of them changes everything.
Jeffrey is not escaping either, because Kriebel has closed right up behind him in the battle for P8. Back at P4, Lawrence is still hanging on with van der Noord tucked in close behind. This midfield group keeps growing, with Dutcher at the head of Jeffrey, Kriebel and Gilbert in a busy pack around P7. Jeffrey continues to fend off Kriebel for P8, but Kriebel is still right there applying the pressure. No change in that fight for P4 either. Lawrence still narrowly ahead of Van der Noord. The same midfield contest rolls on, with Dutcher, Jeffrey and Kriebel still locked together in that train. Further back, Turkey makes the pass on Cummings for P12. Top 8 update. P1 Malat, P2 Van Ekelen, P3 Williams, P4 Lawrence, P5 Van der Noord, P6 Hunt, P7 Dutcher, P8 Jeffrey. Current fastest lap is 1 minute 26.019 by Malat. Jeffrey holds 8th for now, but Kriebel is right with him in a very tight fight. Lawrence is still just ahead in 4th, with Van der Noord tucked in behind and applying the pressure. Dutcher leads that contest for 7th, and Jeffrey is close enough to keep the pressure on. Now they run side by side. Gilbert and Joyner disputing 10th place. Joyner completes that move and takes 10th away from Gilbert. Jeffrey is still trying to fend Kriebel off, and that battle for 8th remains tightly packed. This midfield group is staying busy around 7th, with Dutcher at the front of a tightly bunched train and Joyner continuing to work forward through it. Lawrence continues to cover the inside spot in 4th from Van der Noord, while Williams breaks a little more clear ahead of them. After closing in over several laps, Joyner finally gets through Kriebel to claim 9th. And Joyner is not done yet, because Jeffrey is the next car in front in the fight for 8th. Hunt still has 6th at this point, but Dutcher is right there, and this pressure is building. White flag for Malat, 1 lap remaining for the race leader. Joyner keeps that charge going and takes 8th from Jeffrey. The intensity still has not dropped behind them, with Joyner now leading another close-running group around 8th and 9th. Dutcher pulls alongside Hunt now, and the fight for 6th is fully on. Dutcher makes it stick and moves ahead of Hunt for 6th place. Lawrence is still being chased hard for 4th by Van der Noord, but Williams has opened the margin ahead of that pair. There is pressure right through this group now, Dutcher leading Hunt and Joyner as they bunch together around 6th and 7th. Further back, Jeffrey, Kriebel and Gilbert are still locked in that same lively midfield scrap. Joyner draws alongside Hunt as that battle ramps up again. Mollett finishes it off from pole and adds fastest lap to cap the win. Van Eekelen follows him across the line to take 2nd place. Williams completes the podium as he comes home in 3rd. Then it is 4th and 5th arriving together, Lawrence just ahead of Van der Noord. Further back, Jeffrey gets by Hunt and moves up into 8th. And this fight is not done yet, with Dutcher and Joyner still wheel to wheel. That contest runs right to the flag for 6th and 7th, and Dutcher is the standout after climbing 5 places. Next comes the group contesting 8th through 10th, with Jeffrey the notable mover there, up 5 spots. Hunt reaches the line after that and finishes 11th. Turkey comes through in 12th, ending the race 7 places lower than he started. Cummings is next home in 13th, down 4 from the grid. That wraps it up, with Mollett the race winner at the end of a strong drive.
Mollett absolutely nailed that from pole, led all 14 laps, handled a couple of off-track moments, and still never let Van Eekelen get close enough to really threaten. The big pre-race talking point was Williams starting only 4th, despite that dominant season he's having, and he drove through to 3rd, while Joyner couldn't convert 3rd on the grid into a podium after that early scrap. Behind them, Lawrence and Van der Noord both picked off places cleanly, and lower down it got properly scrappy, with 71 incident points across the field.